Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Farah Kuranto Aini binti Abdul Ghani. So today, our group would like to present a transition of brass pipe faucet to PVC pipe faucet. Firstly, what is faucet? Faucet is a device for delivering water from plumbing system. Consists of spout, handle, leaf rod, aerator, mixing chamber, and also water inlet. Usually, the faucet are made from metals. Around 1700 before century, the Minoan place of Knossos of the Isles of Crete featured terracotta piping that provide water from fountains and faucet of marble, gold, and silver. Plumbing systems have changed drastically, including faucet. For many years, faucet came with two handles, one for cold water and the second one is for hot water. In 1954, Alex Manogan bought the patent rights and introduced the first Delta faucet. The Delta single-handle faucet was the first to incorporate a ball valve design, and it was a huge hit. Faucets come in a wide range of styles, colors, and finishes. Some designs will be more difficult to machine or forge than others. A different finishing process may be used to achieve a different looks. There are two polymeric compounds that found in the faucet. For the first one is stabilizer, and the second one is PVC resin. As for stabilizer, it is to protect polymer chain from heat or degradation deterioration. It is more deterioration catalyzed by hydrochloric and become more explosive. It will releasing significant amount of acidic hydrochloric and other harmful gases, and also provide excellent high temperature, color stability, and long-term dynamic stability. As for PVC resin, there are four types of PVC resin. For the first one is bulk grade PVC, copolymer PVC, suspension grade PVC, and also emulsion grade PVC. PVC resin is a high degree of chemical, moisture resistant, and also flexibility. A biphenyl A diglyceryl ether and epichlorohydrin copolymer can be found in epoxy resin. As for bulk grade PVC, it gives the pure form of PVC resin and no emulsifying or suspension agent. As copolymer PVC is the good solubility in solvent of PVAC and make it as a primer choice for vinyl printing inks. The third one is suspension grade PVC. It is most widely prevalent types and made by polymerization droplet of vinyl chloride monomer suspended in water. Less porous type extensively used for the high volume, rigid and unplasticized PVC application like PVC pipes, windows and sidings. The last one is emulsion grade PVC. Emulsion grade PVC is the emulsion PVC, also known as the paste grade resin, and almost exclusively used for particles. Much more energy to produce and considered costlier than suspension resin.
Classification of material. A thermoplastic is polyvinyl chloride. PVC is a high-strength thermoplastic material that is widely utilized in a variety of applications such as pipelines, medical equipment, wire and cable insulation, and so on. It is the third most product synthetic plastic polymer on the planet. PVC is still frequently utilized, widely available, and easily recycled. At their melting point, thermoplastic materials turn into liquid depending on the additive. The ability of thermoplastic to be heated to the melting point, chill, then reheat without significant degradation is one of their most valuable characteristics. Rather than burning, thermoplastics such as polypropylene liquefy, allowing them to be easily injection molded and recycled. Thermoplastic, on the other hand, can only be heated once. Properties of PVC. The first one is lightweight. Because of its reduced weight, PVC is easier to handle, transport and install. In fact, more PVC pipe and fitting sizes can be handled by hand, eliminating the need for costly installation equipment. Second one is higher flow rates. Smoother wall surface on PVC pipes minimize fluid friction and resistance to flow, allowing for higher flow rates, lower pumping costs due to the superior hydraulics. The third one is corrosion resistant. PVC pipes and fittings are non-conductors of electricity and are resistant to the electrochemical reaction that can cause metal corrosion caused by acids, alkalis, and salts. The last one is chemical resistant. PVC pipes and fittings are chemically resistant to a wide range of reagents and chemicals commonly found or used in houses. Structures of PVC. The polar chlorine atoms in PVC's molecular structure are closely related to its amorphous structure. This is true of PVC resins, which are also fire retardant, durable, and resistant to oil and chemicals. The difference between amorphous and crystalline in polymers are amorphous polymers are those that lack crystalline areas and molecules that are evenly packed. As a result, the primary distinction between amorphous and crystalline polymers is that amorphous polymers lack consistently packed molecules, whereas crystalline polymers do.
And now let's move on to the next part of this slide, which is the process of making product. So for this slide, I'm going to explain two process of making pipe facet. The first one is the process of making metal pipe facet, and the second one is the process of making PVC pipe facet. So the first process, so in this process, there consists of 7 process of flow, which is the first one is facet casting process. What is facet casting process? The casting is a term used to describe the process of creating things out of molten alloys. The liquid alloy is first injected into a mold that has already been prepared. As the liquid alloy cools and solidifies, the blank or part will take on the desired shape. So now on my left is the first process, which is metal casting. Metal casting, it is a process of obtaining a shape by pouring liquid metal into a metal casting. The metal mold can be used again over and again. The second process is sand casting. It is a traditional method of casting. The mold is made with sand as the primary molding material. Next is the gravity casting. Metal casting is another term for it. It is the process of pouring molten metal, brass alloy, into a mold while the Earth's gravity is at work. The heat-resistant alloy still used to make this hollow mold. The next process is casting brass. Brass is used as the facet's raw material because it has outstanding casting, mechanical, and corrosion-resistant capabilities. And the next process is core making machine. It's a piece of casting equipment used to make cores. And then next, move on to the shot blasting machine. The high-speed projectile thrown by the shot blast machine can be used to polish the castings finish. And the last one is molding machine. Sand filling is one of the key duties of sand casting equipment. For example, the machine fills loose sand into the sand bolts to compact the sand. And now moving on to the second process, under making process of metal facet pipe, which is the machining. Machining is the process of carrying out a range of cutting operations on a workpiece using metal cutting lathe, milling, drilling, plating, grinding, boring, and other machine tools to obtain the desired dimensions and shape position precision. The first process is lathe. Lathe is a machine tool that rotates the workpiece while moving the feed turning tool to machine the turning surface. The second one is milling machine, a machine that processes various surfaces on workpiece with milling tools, and the primary motion is the rotational motion of the milling cutter, whereas the feed motion is the motion of the workpiece. The last one is drilling machine. It is a machine that processes holes in the workpiece primarily with a drill. The bit usually spins with the main motion and moves axially with the feed motion. Below is the shows that the process of lathe using lathe machine, and the second one is the drilling machine. The next step of process is process of polishing the facet. Polishing is a technique of employing high-speed spinning chisel cloth wheels to polish the surface of a facet.
Under the process of polishing the faucets, there are consists of three processes, which is the first one is belt polishing grinder. A grinder that uses a fast-moving belt to polish the faucet and ensure that it is in a good shape. The second one is the surface grinding. A grinder that uses a smooth, fast-moving belt to ensure that the faucet surface is free of flaws and gleams. The last process of polishing is the polishing machine. A machine having a high-speed rotating hand cloth, a wheel that can be used to polish faucets, making them smooth and bright and improving the product's brightness and appearance. And now let's move on to the fourth, fifth, and the final process of making metal pipe faucet. The fourth process is plating. Electroplating is a method that uses metal electrolysis to implement a metal film to the surface of rusted metals such as brass, iron, and etc. The fifth process is faucet assembling. Assembly is the process of connecting faucet pieces in a specific order and method to build a complete set of faucet products that consistently fulfill the functions. A faucet is usually made up of multiple parts, and assembly is the final stage of them for the manufacturer, where the product's quality from design to manufacturing to assembly is to ensure and tested. As a result, assembly is a critical step in evaluating product quality. So on my right side, it shows the assembling of sets metal pipe. And the last process is factory inspection of taps. After the successful completion and delivery to the warehouse, QC will conduct a sampling inspection, which will include the following steps: casting surface, threaded surface, quality appearance, assembly, marking, spool sealing test, and faucet sealing performance test to ensure that the sample process is strictly followed, that the premise and that the premise is understood. And now let's move to the making process of PVC pipe faucet. Firstly, the plastic pellets are fed into an injection hopper before falling into a barrel. Next, inside the injection machine, the pellets are moved forward inside the barrel with a spinning screw. Plastic pellets are warmed by heating bands wrapped around the barrel. The pellets are gradually melted as the rotating screw moves them forward, and when they reach the front of the barrel, they are completely molten. When there is enough molten plastic in front of the screw injects into the mold cavity via the mold sprue and runner system. When the molten plastic inside the mold shrinks due to cooling, the screw will continually force the molten plastic into the mold for replenishment, ensuring that the product is complete and structured. The mold temperature controller regulates the flow of water or oil via the cooling system in order to keep the mold at the desired temperature. Within less than a minute, the molten plastic has cooled and solidified, and then take out the product from the injection machine. The third diagram shows the assembly process of faucet pipe, and the fourth diagram shows the final checking of the faucet pipe, and the last diagram shows the packaging process of the faucet pipes. In conclusion, let me sum up my main points. The first point is faucets are often built of corrosion-resistant materials. The second point, the most popular metals are brass and stainless steel, but zinc alloy is sometimes used in less priced variants. The third point is brass, nickel, pewter, and gold are popular faucet finishes these days because they are less likely to tarnish or flake. For the fourth point, to summarize why certain faucet components are made of plastic, consider the following. Plastic can withstand a wide range of temperatures without being destroyed, allowing cold and hot water to flow freely without causing damage to the plastic components. For the fifth point, since plastic has no effect on the quality of drinking water and does not pollute it with hazardous chemicals or bacteria, it is frequently used for the interior of spouts. Next point, plastic is completely corrosion-proof, and plastic is also resistant to humidity, which is vital when dealing with water. Last but not least, these plastic faucets are usually the simplest to install, and unlike metal-based faucets,
They are unlikely to flake or peel, allowing contaminants to enter water supply. That's all from us. Thank you.